all around the world. Welcome to Musical People and Journey's new rock album review show. Welcome to my wonderful panel, to Simon, to William. My name's Nigel. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
For new listeners to the show, we review and rate the latest rock albums, and rate them out of 5 for our listening pleasure. Normally there's a few more. There's normally 5 of us, but today there are 3 plus one, which is Trish. We have Trish's notes here. Today we are reviewing Nothing More and their album Carnal. Love the name, Carnal. Who are Nothing More. Nothing More is an American rock band from San Antonio, Texas, formed in 2003. The band spent much of the 2000s recording independent albums and struggling to maintain a steady lineup or to attract a record label interest. Towards the end of the decade, the band's longtime drummer Jonny Hawkins decided to switch from being a band member's frontman and lead vocalist, stayed with the band's core lineup along with another longtime members, Mark on guitar and Daniel on bass. The band self-funded and recorded a 4th album, Nothing More, over the course of 3 years, and used it again to gain attention of 11 Seven Music record label, who signed the band up to a 5-album record contract upon hearing it. The album became the band's breakthrough release in 2014, with multiple chart singles, including This Is the Time, which hit number 1 on the Mediabase Active Rock chart, and number 2 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock chart, and Mr. MTV, Jenny, and Here's to the Heartache, all charted in the top 15 of both charts. Simon, let's start with you then. What did you think of Nothing More and Carnal?
I mean, wow, what album. I've had this album on repeat for weeks and I'm still not bored of it. There's so much variety in the style and sounds here, right from the opening, with an intro track that actually forms into the opening track. I mean, it's a miracle. House on Sound
tick box.
Exactly. House on Sound was an absolute banger opening as well. His vocals soar through, then they swing into these spoken verses, into a catchy chorus. There's a bit of this guttural bleh for good measure in there, which I know they've got the cover vocals as well, but I just fell in love with the album there and then. I thought this track was going to be the whole album to follow, and I was very pleasantly wrong, because if it doesn't hurt, slammed into my personal light songs list, because that chorus plays on loop in my mind every day. Free For All's a great break with this lighter tone to it, and then everything gets shaken up again with all the sample tracks. Heart in particular really resonated with me. It's such a beautiful piece, and they play into the overall sound of the album as well, really adding to this cohesive whole, rather than just taking you out of the moment and being these random bits and pieces. And I mean, overall, in the album, all these tracks, it's all fairly mainstream, radio safe rock and roll stuff, but do you know what? I don't care, because it's all really, really good. I mean, just to be fair, to leverage some criticism, it would have been nice to have heard the guitars play a bit of a bigger role in some of the tracks and stuff, because it's very, very vocal heavy and forward. But it's so much fun to listen to. It's absolutely great. It's fantastic music, and I wish our rating system went even higher so I could give it more.
We'll read Trish's notes in between. So it's she's like a rose between two thorns, is the way I look at this. Nothing More certainly served up some anthems throughout the album, which I loved. It's going to satisfy fans and hook some new ones in. It's an album of rock mixed with electronic beats that work well. It's an album that keeps the listener engaged from start to end. This hit my sweet listening spot. Top job! Will, you're our top job. What did you think? Was it a top job of an album for you?
It's it's a good sign when an album not only has an intro track, not only has 2 mid-album instrumentals, but also an outro track, and for us to still speak well of it. Because I also, I had a lot of fun with this album as well. It did deceive me a bit, because for a reason I shall get into, being, in our experience on this podcast, albums where all the tracks are in capital letters tend to be a bit angrier. So hearing that intro track and then having the guy shouting oh, it's Carnal nature, and then it goes into just this man's really nice singing and instrumentals. There's a bit of a shocked me a bit. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, but no, this is a really, really, really enjoyable album. Again, outro track as just an instrumental piece, it was actually really cool. I liked it. Nice little like funky electros, bit of cool guitar to do instrumental. Oh, this was an absolute treat of an album. Listen to this. Not quite. Again, personal preference. Would like to. Thought it could have done a bit more heavy to go in with those other elements, in my opinion, to make it even better. Maybe a bit more vocal variety. Because for me, it started to get a bit samey as it went on. But this is a really awesome album, and you got to check it out. Even if it's not the kind of thing you think you're like, this is absolutely brilliant.
Okay, my cliff notes. What an amazing album! Wow. When you have the spoken word, and I was trying to think of the right words that the album is interjected, proverbs, anecdotes. I don't quite know how to encapsulate it. Normally, you associate it with something like prog rock, okay, and they're very pretentious, in terms of the words that they use, but it blended brilliantly then with the track that it was about to play. It was almost saying, do you know when sometimes power metal they tell the story and then they have a spoken word and then bang, that's what the song is about, encapsulate what's it about. And I think the spoken word, particularly sort of like one of my favourite tracks was Down the River, which you'd go, sometimes you think, well, this is just a pretentious lot of bullshit, right? But it isn't, because it's all about human nature, and sometimes how you should maybe not so much live your life, but how you could live your life, and how lessons should be learned. And it was brilliant, and it wasn't pretentious. It didn't feel like this is trying to throw what they believe down your throat. This was going to encapsulate what the song was about. So it blended perfectly. And I haven't heard an album, and we've listened to 400 albums nearly, that does that and has done that. Even with the power metal storytelling albums that we've listened to, it's really powerful stuff. And then musically, the mixture of rock from slightly slower rock, and they didn't have a sort of like classically ballady kind of songs. It was just brilliantly mixed, and brilliantly done. House of the Sand featuring Eric Vale from Hyper Vale was just out of this world. It was brilliant. Angel Songs featuring David Draymond was just, well, that was brilliant. And then Down the River, for me, one of the reasons why I love Down the River is because it followed on beautifully from the spoken proverbs that were spoken. It was just. Well, I've also put Blasted with powerful mix of heavy and metal rock, and very modern and very fresh. And what a sound! What a goddamn brilliant album! Yeah. Brilliant album. Really, really, really good. Right. Well, this could be interesting, couldn't it? This could be very interesting. Let's find out where this is going to sit and what our ratings are. I'll start with myself. I'm going to start with myself. Mm-hmm. I give this a 5, and so did Trish. Mm. Simon, what did you give it?
What? No, 5.
5? Oh my god! So we've got 3 5s. 3 5s. We have never before ever had 5s across the board. Ever. Will William take it home? William, what did you give it?
4.
4. When I saw the ratings coming in, and I was going, oh, and then William then rated the small.
Got to spoil your fun.
However, it did give us a rating of 4.75, which does put it on top of our favourite album of all time. It is our number one rated album of the 392 albums that we've rated over the years. It is the top. It is our number one album of the year so far. And I think a contender for album of the year. Whether it wins album of the year is another matter, because there's a whole bunch of people, there's 5 other people that will be rating this that haven't heard it. But for us 4, it's up there. So it's number one album of the year so far, and it's our number one album of all time. That's
Amazing.
how good this goddamn album is, people. Check it out. It is absolutely an absolute delight. And also, you know, one of the reasons we kind of do this intro, in terms of telling a little bit of history about the band, is to say where they've come from. Just remember that this band was going for 11 years before they got a record deal. 11 years. So they started in 2003, went through a hell of a lot, and then got a music deal in 2014, and they haven't looked back. So just like we're on at our journey, the bands that we review are also on a journey, and congratulations to Nothing More. Well done. Fabulous album. I hope you go on and have some great success. Maybe come and have a chat with us. Who knows? And I would certainly be front row if they ever come to the UK. So congratulations to them. Thank you, wonderful panel, to Simon and to William. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you like what you see, and tune in for more new rock album reviews. Goodbye, everybody, and take care. Bye.
Bye.